A very good day to Madam Nurul Nadia and my fellow classmates. We are from Group 2. The case study that has been chosen by our group is case study number 9 entitled Digital Downloads. I'm Shankari Ravindran and I will be presenting the introduction part and will be answering question number 1. Okay, first and foremost, let's look into the introduction part. Digital piracy such as the unlawful duplicating, sharing, purchasing, utilizing, transferring, or potentially downloading of copyrighted programming, audio products, recordings, books, and pictures has kept on rising emphatically in the beyond couple of years, particularly when countries like the United Kingdom and France. Piracy refers to the unauthorized duplication of copyrighted content that is then sold at substantially lower prices in the dark market. For example, CD writers are available off the shelf at very lower prices, making music piracy a simple affair. Piracy is done in many ways like video piracy, cable piracy, and DVD or CD piracy. Video piracy takes place when a film is produced in the form of a video cassette without a proper authorization from the right holder, such as the producer. Cable piracy refers to unauthorized transmission of films through cable network. Very often films, especially the new releases, are shown through cable without permission from the rights holder. Piracy is actually a very rare phenomenon in satellite channels because these are organized and generally do not show films without buying proper rights. Music piracy refers to the unauthorized replication of music cassettes that flood the market as soon as the launch of a new release. Music companies' revenues hit hard by the deluge of pirated compact discs and cassettes, as these are available at substantially lower prices compared to that at stores. Even though there is indeed a relationship among morality and religion with regards to morals and wrongdoing, Internet piracy represents a tremendous danger to diversion and innovative ventures. Next, let's look into question number 1. Artists generally agree that piracy causes financial harm, but some artists recognize that piracy creates exposure for the artist and access for the listener. Do you think that the benefits of piracy outweigh the harms done? Why or why not? Based on my opinion, I would strongly disagree upon the statement that benefits of piracy could outweigh the harms done. As I said so, digital piracy is actually an act of downloading or distributing copyrighted material and intellectual property without paying for it, and it is most certainly an illegal act. Digital piracy is a violation of federal copyright laws. It can result in steep fines and imprisonment. In general, the consequences of digital piracy can be high. Imagine for a moment you are an aspiring songwriter and musician. You invest an entire year writing your first album. Your new album is finally produced and hits the market. You begin making a modest amount of money. But however, you discover that your album has been copied and distributed for free over the internet. Now you begin to lose money. You can't afford to write a second album due to this financial loss. So, based on the case study, singer Nora Jones claimed that this is not an ideal for the record industry, and a lot of young artists will not be able to make money off the album sales. Aside from legal trouble, digital piracy can also have implications on cybersecurity. As stated above, hackers can use pirated content to spread malware, trojans, and viruses. Companies who use pirated software open themselves up to copyright violation and infringement. They also expose their networks to potential malware or virus infection. Hackers then use these infected systems to launch an attack or to mine cryptocurrency. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Hi, madam. I'm Miss Shalini here, and I would like to explain about the question 2. And the question 2 is along with other file sharing services, Napster helped to stimulate payment based services such as iTunes, Pandora, and many others. Do you think this positive outcome justifies Napster's illegal activities? Why or why not? And from my opinion, I don't think it justifies because but also I do think it happened to just be one positive outcome. At least now artists will be making profit of people listening to their music on third-party apps or sites. Then such positive outcomes cannot outweigh its effect on artists, most it especially those who are just starting out on the music industry. Then artists also sales or money from their album were negatively impacted and reduced given that Napster has over millions of subscribers or users. Then now I would like to explain about the Napster as well. Sean Fanning, an American college student who founded Napster, a music file sharing computer service in 1999. Napster allowed users to share electronic copies of music, such as like file sharing, and also stored on their computers via the internet. The resulting file sharing triggered a legal battle over digital rights and the development of digital rights management software to battle computer copyright privacy. Napster also facilitates the trading of individual MP3 songs. A common misconception is that when someone downloads a song, Napster is a source of that song. However, it is the most basic form. Napster is a searching and indexing program. Users can interact with Napster service sites software by downloading a program called Music Share from the Napster website.
I'm reading my name is Felicia. We are going to present the question 3. My answer is, in my opinion, I don't think it is ethical. As we mentioned, I don't agree with reflecting the perception that music is no value and should be free. Therefore, as a consumer, I don't think more likely to subscribe to Apple Music. Although I think Apple has been agreed to change the terms of agreement in order to compensate artists with a reduced rate because it's unfair for artists with a low compensation. In this manner, I have convinced people to pay for something that they could get at a cheaper price of it. Moreover, there are few consequences faced by on performing without reduced rate compensation. In my opinion, art is not a community. Community is a bit. If you want to produce community, negotiate with work in advance. Otherwise, it will be commissioned work, which obviously compensates the purpose. That is my answer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Steven. Okay, first we look into the 10 moral rules. Okay, the first rule is do not kill. This rule applies to the situation in which the injury suffered does not result in death. Hence, it should be understood as do not cause permanent loss of awareness unless someone has a religious conviction that supports the concept that even without cosigns a human being is alive. Okay, the second rule is do not cause pain. Generally speaking, no logical person wants to feel pain. However, there are situations in which someone may choose to feel pain or another unpleasant emotion despite being reasonable. Okay, the third rule is do not disable. This moral principle will be clearly broken by blinding someone or amputating their arm. Similarly, providing drugs will be an example of mental and willful violation of such laws. The fourth rule is do not deprive of freedom. Loss of freedom caused by a handicap which was consequences of the violation of the presiding rule. This rule can be broken by coercion as well as through prejudice. Okay, the fifth rule is do not deprive of pleasure. Stopping from scratching someone's back is not considered as breach of this rule. However, taking their ice cream is. Judd defends the apparent recurrence of rules, stressing on its function in the name of clarity and aesthetic of his neat 10 rule formulation. With regard to this particular topic, as if apologizing for his formulation of moral principles. Next, sixth rule is do not deceive. Judd thinks that this praise is more relevant than the more typical do not lie, because speaking a falsehood with the intent to deceive is merely one of many ways to deceive. Furthermore, even a person is unsure whether or not they are lying, a person will be breaking this rule. The seventh rule is keep your promises. The first of the 10 rule that is not expressed as restriction is this one. However, it can read keep your word. The advantage of this form is that it emphasizes something that has already been committed and should not disregarded. Eighth rule is do not cheat. This should not, according to Judd, be seen just another way of saying do not lie, do not deceive, or keep your promises. Cheating does not always involve deceiving, as for example, in the case of a boss who cheats in a game, not bothering to hide his action because he knows his employees will not complain. The ninth rule is obey the law. Even if we consider that there might be unjust laws, most rules will be just and fair, and everyone agrees that it morally admirable to obey them. A moral system and a legal system vary in that a moral system not require to provide solution in every situation, but a legal system is. A moral philosophy is not required to provide a clear, unambiguous responses. No matter how unjust the outcome, a legal system must offer the conclusive solution to a problem. The last rule is do your duty. Here example of parental and professional duties as well as situational problems are covered. But in the later instance, Judd distinguishes if someone is in a position to assist others, they should do so. Okay, to answer the next question, not only artists who are affected by piracy, the effects of piracy may be served and extend across whole supply chain, from the manufacturer of the goods to the consumers. It is challenging to determine the extent of digital piracy and how much money businesses are losing as a result. As is true of other types of crime, recent estimates and illustrations give a sense of challenges breadth. For example, streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu lost about 50 billion a year from pirated content, according to recent estimates. This amount is roughly on par with the actual income the services bring in from their paying customers. Music piracy costs the industry about 12 billion a year, according to the Recording Industry Association of America. Of course, many of these sources have a self-interest in making the piracy problem seem as dire as possible. Still, the scope and the scale of digital piracy seems to be quite substantial. Okay, to answer the last question, from my side, no changes on my opinion, because customer pleasure and experience are substantially reduced by the lack of quality control in stolen material. The majority of pirated entertainment has poorer quality and standards than the original, including audio pauses, blurry images, and other issues. Customers are receiving the quality that the original artists and companies intended if they are just viewing the stolen material. This not only devalues the original material for the consumers, but also discredits the author and the brand of the content. Customers who download unlicensed content are more likely to be disappointed with it because if it's low quality. Due to the increase in consumer complaints, this has a detrimental effects on brands and the effectiveness of their workplace. It costs additional time and money to respond to these concerns. Time and money that might have been used to produce more content and improve the user experience. Thank you.
Hi madam, my name is Lavanya. Today I am going to present about the conclusion. In conclusion, maintaining one's privacy online is crucial due to the numerous websites, programs, services, frauds and viruses that are just waiting for an opportunity to steal someone's privacy information. Everyone would be considerably safer and their personal information would be less likely to be stolen if they knew how to protect themselves and use the proper software. One of the users the internet should keep in the mind that his knowledge will aid them in the future in maintaining security and protecting their privacy. Privacy is not only a commodity to be exchanged as though the information about us were nothing more than money. In terms of values, culture, power, social position, dignity and liberty is an emerging form of social property. People must be aware of the dangers of disclosing personal information online due to their lack of regulation governing internet privacy. They must also understand that simply because of a website or social media platforms claim to preserve a user's privacy, this can be better safeguarded if internet users are aware of it and refrain from posting certain types of information in online.